It's draft week. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the NFL draft. As of right now, it is Wednesday. So tomorrow is the draft. And I'm here to get you prepared. I'm here to go through all the options, all the steps, everything you need to be prepared so that when the Browns inevitably do something stupid, you don't have to sit there and scream, "What the elf was that?"
You're listening to the What the Elf Was That podcast, an iconoclastic look at the latest Cleveland Browns news. The What the Elf Was That podcast is part of the Fanatical Elves podcast network, a part of the Fans First Sports Network. Here's your host, Joel Cade.
Hey everybody, welcome back into What the Elf Was That? It is draft week, and just in case you've been living under a rock, it is draft week. The trade rumors are flying. By the way, if you've never been through draft time, I mean, now is the time when all the hay is in the barn, everything's done the week of the draft. This is where every team calls every other team and it says, hey, what's it going to take to get up to 2, get back up in the second round, get up in the first round, whatever you're trying to do. This is where you lay all the groundwork. So if you've watched draft day, it does not happen like draft day. Rarely does it happen like draft day. So if you've watched draft day, watch it. It's okay, I guess. But interestingly, you know, they go through a lot of trades that a lot of teams haven't traded the groundwork for. But in fairness, I mean, like, trades were unexpected. Anyway, wanted to give you some helpful tips to negotiate the draft and what to look for and what to watch for. So first of all, the draft is one giant poker game. Okay? Just if you think of it as a poker game, it'll be so much more fun. If you think of it as, oh, I'm going to watch this guy walk up, announce somebody's name, everybody's going to clap, and we're going to go on. What you have to understand is there's a poker game happening at number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and each hand is different. So once the Titans pick, right, the Browns are on the clock. Then a whole bunch of options open up. Then the Browns either trade or pick, and then a whole nother game opens up, the whole other possibilities. So if you see it as a poker game, it's a lot more exciting. So that said, I want to give you some of my personal tips. One, nobody knows anything. Okay. Everything is conjecture. And to say that, it's important to realize that, because if everything is conjecture, then there could be teams out there putting information out to try to help them. Maybe they want out of their pick. Maybe the Browns want out of 2, and they know somebody wants to jump up to 2 to get, Travis Hunter. So if they come out and Travis Hunter's great, he's this, he's that, he's the Shohei Ohtani of football, which that's hyperbole. Okay. But if you hype him up, then somebody's going to want to come get him. If, however, you don't want to trade out of the pick, or you want somebody to fall to you, you can start saying, well, Shedeur Sanders this, Shedeur Sanders that, and then hopes that maybe other teams will pick up on that and they'll fall. So this is part of the poker game that's going on. Any information you get from Schefter, Todd McShay, Daniel Jeremiah, Bucky Brooks, I'm hearing this, all these insiders. I mean, you never know. I mean, it could be real, could not be real, it could be subterfuge, could be bluffing. Everyone's playing a poker game. Okay. So one of the couple questions I ask when a draft pick is made, particularly by the Browns. So anytime a Browns team makes a draft pick, I ask 2 questions, and they're out of frustration because I think a lot of bad drafting goes on. But one, can this person return kicks? Because good God, when was the last time the Browns had somebody that could return kicks? I mean, literally last year, we're throwing a guy out there, just telling him to fair catch. We got some guy in the middle of the season. He acted like a jackwagon, so they released him mid-season. They sign these free agents. They get hurt in camp. I'm not saying anything about, I think we have DeAndre Carter this year, 31-year-old DeAndre Carter. At some point, maybe we should just draft somebody that can return kicks. I've been wanting the Browns to draft a punt returner, kick returner for the last 5 years. So my frustration has actually led to the point where, like, I initially asked, can this guy return kicks? Because that is the most neglected thing the Browns do. They literally have nobody that returns, unless you count Jerome Ford, which, come on. All right. Number 2, the next question is, can he play football? Okay. Can he play football? Because that's an important question. It goes back to what are we trying to do with the draft, right? A podcast a couple weeks ago said the draft is about getting better as a football team. It's about winning football games. But there are GMs out there who want to win the draft. And they want to make sure that the value they're picking at corresponds to the player that they're picking at with that pick. If you don't know what that's about, go back a couple podcasts and I'll explain positional value versus draft value, on and on and on. But some people get enamored with these players that have these off the chart dynamics, off the chart athleticism. A perfect example of this, by the way, is Jalen Milroe. And I know there's a lot of buzz between Jalen Milroe and the Browns, but this is a perfect example of someone you ask, can he play football? Okay. He's got the speed, the athleticism, the jumping, the shuttle time, the 40 time, anything you want, but can't hit the broadside of a barn with a pass. But teams will say, oh my gosh, I can get this guy. He's got this great athleticism. The problem is you have to teach him to play football, because in the end, you play football. You play football, and you have to draft to win football games, not draft to win the draft. So, key questions to ask when you're watching the NFL draft. One, can he return a kick? Because, my God, how long has it been since the Browns have had a guy that can return kicks? And two, can this person play football? Or are we just drafting somebody because of their cool athleticism, their ability to jump real high and run real fast? And boy, that looks good. If I could just coach him up, if I could just teach him to play football. In my opinion, we are not in the business of teaching someone to play football. If this person has played little league football, junior high football, high school football, college football, and they are 21, 22 years old, and they can't play football, they're not going to play football. Okay? It's just not going to happen. If they've been spent most of their life playing football and they still can't play football, they're not a football player. They're just a really good, shiny, athletic toy for someone to come in and say, look at this cool thing we got. Let's see if we can make something happen with it, because people overestimate their ability to coach. If this person has dedicated over a decade of their young life to football and they can't play football, you're not teaching them to play football in the NFL. It's just not happening. Okay, so those are the things to keep in mind when evaluating draft picks. Like, can they return kicks and can they play football? It seems so easy, right? Draft players that can play football to help you win football games. But so often and so many times, people just don't do it. It's mind-boggling. And it's mind-boggling that I have to come in here to a podcast to tell you to think about, hey, can this person play football? Speaking of people who play football, the number 2 pick. Now, I've been listening to other people's podcasts because I told you I don't break news. I just give my opinion on news. I've been listening to Todd McShay and other people, and they're claiming that this year's draft has about 2 premium players, maybe 3 if you count Cam Ward. Those players obviously are Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter. I'm not sold on Abdul Carter, but whatever. If you have those 3 premium players, then everyone after that is not a premium player. Meaning, wide receiver 1 in this draft may have been wide receiver 6 in a previous draft. Left tackle 1 in this draft is like left tackle 5 in last year's draft. So if the talent isn't commensurate with the number 1 pick and people are value picking, I'm just going to put that out there. The value picks of this draft are picks 1, 2, and 3. Now, the Titans are pretty much up on Cam Ward. I don't know if that's locked in stone, but we'll see. Nobody really knows anything. They could be really pulling it fast when honest with this. But Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami, going to the Tennessee Titans is virtually what everybody thinks is going to happen number 1, which means the Browns are sitting at number 2. And therefore, they have a shot at one of these other 2 premium players, namely Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. So let's just run through these guys real quick. Travis Hunter is a 2-way player. Question is, he's a wide receiver and he's a defensive back, right? So he can play wide receiver. He's the best wide receiver in the draft, and he's the best defensive back in the draft, all wrapped up into one person. He has absolutely tremendous athleticism and ball skills, He relies on that athleticism and ball skills, which means he's going to need coached. He's going to need coached. Andrew Berry has referred to him as Shohei Ohtani of football, which I do not think is accurate. Wide receiver and corner are related positions, as where Shohei Ohtani is an outfielder and a pitcher, which are not related positions. I mean, it's the same sport, but it might as well not be. How different those two things are. But nonetheless, I don't want to down talk Travis Hunter. Great player, great athleticism, dynamic, electric, will be a tremendous player if that's who the Browns draft. Now let's run him through the ringer, right? Can he return kicks? I have no idea if Travis Hunter can return kicks. Not sure if you draft in Travis Hunter that's what you want to be doing with him. This is round 1, pick 2. You can pick kick returners in round 6, 7, 5. I'm just sick of the Browns drafting kickers, damn kickers, over people who can return the ball. Like, come on. Number 2, can he play football? Yes, Travis Hunter can play football. Can he get better at football? Absolutely, he can get better at football. Everyone can get better at football, but he can play football. So Travis Hunter would be a good pick. All right, let's look at the next option, Abdul Carter. And you've heard me talk about Abdul Carter if you're paying attention to what I've been dealing with. Abdul Carter is called an edge defensive end. He's a linebacker. Let's just call him a linebacker because that's what he is. He's a linebacker that lines up in the middle of the field almost 50% of the plays. Then if he's out on the edge, he's lined up in a 2-point position and not in a 3-point position. He is not a traditional defensive end in the way that Jim Schwartz would use a defensive end. He is a linebacker. Now, he is a good linebacker, okay? He can come off blocks, elude blocks, and can make plays. Darts in, like, I want you to really think of Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who reported to off-season training workouts. Looked like he was a homeless dude, like most of them look like they were homeless. I don't even understand that. You make millions of dollars, but you can't dress better than the homeless guy walking down the street. And I know, like, what homeless people look like because I live downtown in where I live, and we got homeless people walking by all the time. They look like Bunker Jonesy from whatever that video game is the kids all play. I mean, he looks like that dude Bunker Jonesy. Here comes Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah with the sweatpants and the hat looking like he's homeless. I mean, he looks like one of the homeless dudes that walks by my house. So I don't understand. Not even that. Joe Flacco comes in with the same, I am digressing quickly, the same homeless looking outfit. Just go back and look at the Browns players coming into OTAs. I don't even know if it's OTAs, whatever they're showing up for. They all look like they're homeless. I don't get it. You make millions of dollars, dress nicer. Anyway, act like you make money. He's a linebacker. He's a linebacker, Abdul Carter again, in the same respect as Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah out of Notre Dame. He knifes through defenders, he's elusive, and he makes sure tackles. The problem with these players is if somebody gets a hold of him, he's toast. Abdul Carter is the same way. If an offensive lineman gets their hands on him, it's over. He's going to the ground. Period. So he's already had a bad shoulder and a bad foot. Nobody seems to worry about that. I tend to worry about the foot injury, but everybody else seems to think it's okay. I'm not a medical guy. I just know if you have a stress fracture, you're probably going to do it again. Myles Garrett had one of these and played through a high ankle sprain as well. But he had I believe Myles Garrett had a stress fracture in his foot. I don't know. Don't quote me. I'm guessing he did. So there's Abdul Carter. Would be a good pick, right? He's one of those premium players. He would be a replacement for Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Now, another pick the Browns could take is Shedeur Sanders. Oh, actually, let's go back. Does Abdul Carter return kicks? No, he does not return kicks. And 2, can Abdul Carter play football? Yes, Abdul Carter can play football. He is a bad man at what he does. The question is what he does, what the Browns need right now, particularly if we think there might be hope that Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah comes back. Probably not. Okay, moving on. The other option that's been out there at number 2 is Shedeur Sanders. I am a fan of Shedeur Sanders. I am a fan of taking people that can help you win football games. I believe the Browns, if they took Shedeur Sanders, can be helped to win football games. Now, the question is, can you get positional value? There's a lot of things out there on Shedeur Sanders, but I just want to, you can get all that from other people. I want to give you a different scenario. The 2016 NFL draft. Now, some of you may not remember that off the top of your head like me because you're not like me. Otherwise, you'd be doing a podcast or you'd want to be on this podcast. The Browns had the number 2 pick in the 2016 NFL draft and made it very well known that they were interested in drafting Jared Goff. All right, the other quarterback in that draft was Carson Wentz. So the big debate was, do you take Wentz? Do you take Goff? Do you take Cam Ward? Do you take Shedeur Sanders? Sound familiar? All right. The Browns wanted Jared Goff. Thought that Carson Wentz was not a top 15 quarterback in the NFL. Everybody laughed at him. I think Carson Wentz right now is a backup. Jared Goff is still playing. So take it for what it's worth. But the Browns made that very, very known that they wanted Jared Goff. To the point that the Rams, who also wanted Jared Goff, knew that they were going to have to jump the Browns to get Jared Goff. And that's exactly what they did. They dialed up, I don't remember who, I believe it was the Titans, but I don't know. Might have been the Titans. I don't remember who exactly they dialed up. Dialed up somebody and said, we want Jared Goff. Tell us your price. Jumped the Browns. The Browns didn't get the guy they wanted because loose lips sink ships. The Browns have been extremely tight-lipped about what's happening in this year's NFL draft. They want Abdul Carter. Now they want Travis Hunter. You know, nobody's saying nothing. There's certainly, if they say they want Shedeur Sanders, they're not putting that out there because the Giants are interested in Shedeur Sanders. And I am sure the Titans would love to sell off the number 1 pick. The Giants may want to jump up and grab Cam Ward. But if they like Shedeur Sanders over Cam Ward, and there are people out there who like Shedeur Sanders more than Cam Ward, Bucky Brooks being one of them, Mel Kiper being one of them, they are out there. So if the Browns were to make it known, hey, I want Shedeur Sanders, they're opening themselves up to be jumped. They've opened themselves up to be jumped when they start saying Abdul Carter, Abdul Carter, Abdul Carter. They also been up to be jumped when they're out there putting out there Travis Hunter, Travis Hunter, Travis Hunter. Now, apparently, the Titans have said, we are not going to trade the number 1 pick, and everyone pretty much thinks that they're going to take Cam Ward. So right now, there's nobody for the to jump the Browns, but this could have been their play with Shedeur Sanders all along. But they want Shedeur Sanders, and they want everyone off the scent because of the trauma of the 2016 NFL draft, where they wanted their guy. It was well known who they wanted, and they got leapfrogged and didn't want that to happen again. Okay, questions about Shedeur Sanders. Does he return kicks? Absolutely not. He does not return kicks. He's a quarterback. And second, can he play football? Yes, Shedeur Sanders can play football. Now, is he at QB2 in this draft the same as QB6 in last year's draft? Maybe. But if he can help you win football games, does that really matter? Does it? Or are you wanting to play the game where you trade back and still get them and come back into the second round, or come back in from the second round to the first to get them, all that kind of stuff? If you've got the stomach for that, if you got the cojones for that, and I think Andrew Berry does, by the way, if you got the cojones for that, go for it. Do it. All right. Take somebody you wanted to, or explore the next option for number 2, which is trade back. Now that everybody's talking about trades, and it's trade week is what I call this week, trade week, the week up to the draft, everyone's talking about there are teams interested in Travis Hunter. One in particular is the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I believe are picking 5th. Maybe they want to trade up. Maybe all this talk of Travis Hunter's the Shohei Ohtani of football is getting to somebody, and it's ramping up that draft value that somebody is willing to come up. I think if the Browns do this, they need to get a number 1 next year. If you're going to pass on a quarterback this year, you need to get ammunition this year to next year go up and get a quarterback. You can't listen to all the same people who tell you every single year, year in and year out, to just pick value and don't pick a quarterback, and it doesn't make any sense, and this is how teams win. All that nonsense. All that nonsense actually makes sense if you have a quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, it's nonsense, okay? The Browns don't have a quarterback, but if you don't like Shedeur Sanders, which could be the case, then you better armor up you better draft pick up for next year to be able to throw your entire draft at whoever picks number 1 to get the quarterback you want. Period. So if the Browns are already talking to teams about coming back, they need to insist on a 1 from next year. This year's 1 and next year's 1, and sell off Travis Hunter like a lottery ticket. This goes back to this is a big poker game. Sell him off like a lottery ticket and see what you can get. Now, question is, can trading back return kicks? No. Can trading back play football? Maybe if you draft a guy that can play football, but that becomes a different scenario. Trading back could be a real possibility here. Personally, I wouldn't be opposed to trading back. I would like to see, if we're going to trade back, I'd like to see this. I would like to see the Jaguars go to 2 and take Travis Hunter. Make that splash, right, that you see in the movie Draft Day. Make that splash. Let the Giants pick Abdul Carter or sell off that pick for Abdul Carter. Let the Patriots take a guard or sell off that pick. And if you can at 5, sit there and take Ashton Genty and get a running back to revitalize the Browns' running game. The Browns are a running team. Take that running back and move on from there. Okay, from here, we're going to take a break. Give you about 10 seconds to process the tremendous amount of information I've just thrown at you on how to look at the draft before we look at our next draft scenario. See you after the break. All right, and we're back. So the next intriguing part of the Browns, particularly when it comes to the first round, are trade-up scenarios from the second round back into the first. There have been rumors that the Browns might be interested in coming back into the first round to grab Shedeur Sanders, might be coming back in the first round to grab Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe or Tyler Shough. I personally think that the Tyler Shough discussion is nonsense. Nobody's coming back in to trade him for a 100-year-old quarterback who's played 10 seasons in college football. Yes, that's a hyperbole, but he's 25, 26, and he's played 7 seasons of college football. Nobody's drafting up for that. Okay. So your other questions are Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe. Jackson Dart, I can see happening, although I'm not convinced that if you draft Jackson Dart, you're going to be dealing with him for like the same question. Can he play football? I mean, that's the question. But the Browns have talked about, or the rumors are out there, that they would trade their second round pick, number 33 overall, the first pick of the second round, to come back up and probably give up a 5 or a 6 in the process. It may happen. It may not happen. The rumor is that they're not going to do it. That doesn't mean come draft night that they aren't going to do it. It's a poker game. Could be bluffing. Could be trying to bait somebody into saying, oh, we really want to trade back. We'll make you a sweetheart deal if you trade with us. We want to get back out of this first round and grab extra picks because we don't have a second round pick like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Could be what's going on. Could be that they plan all along to trade back up and get Shedeur Sanders if he's available, or Jackson Dart, so help us, or Jalen Milroe, which you could probably get in the third round, Tyler Shough, which you should just pass on. Unless you plan on Tyler Shough being a career backup, then you do not take him in the first round or the second round. You wait until like the third or fourth, regardless. Now, the most intriguing target, I would say, coming up from the second round back into the first would be Jalen Milroe. All right, Jalen Milroe is a great athletic person, fast, strong arm, great runner, can throw the ball, is extremely intelligent, got a BA and an MA in 4 years. Good for him, right? The negatives would be he needs to improve his throwing mechanics, and the Browns would have to specifically build an offense for him. He doesn't really do what the Browns do right now, which is why this Jalen Milroe stuff doesn't make much sense to me. But outside of him being intelligent, by football player standards, he's intelligent. So the questions for Jalen Milroe: does he return kicks? No, but I bet he could. I mean, I really think you could draft Jalen Milroe and turn him into a running back, and that would be a tremendous pick at the top of the second round. He's not going to return kicks for you. That's not what he does. He's a quarterback. Maybe. Can he play football? Well, that depends on what position you're asking. Can he play quarterback? No, he does not play quarterback well. I mean, he throws the ball in the dirt. He can't hit the broadside of a barn. You can put him out in the middle of the ocean, have him throw the ball off the boat, and he won't hit the ocean. It's just, he's that bad. Okay. Watch his tape. Go back. Now, if you look at him in 2023, he was actually pretty decent on his first read. If he found his first read was there, he could get them the ball. But if his first read wasn't there, this dude is like lost like a deer in the headlights. So there's a lot of coaching. He does not play football well. This is the epitome of, I like this guy's athleticism. Let's teach him to play football. And I promise you, if this guy is, I'm going to say it again. It's going to annoy you, but I'm going to say it again. If this guy is dedicated almost his entire life to playing football, and he is 22, 23 years old and can't do it by now, he's not going to. Don't take the shiny, freaky, athletic kid who can't play football. Take the player that can play football. That's if you want to win football games. I mean, if you want to win the draft, take Jalen Milroe. If you want to win football games, take a quarterback who can play football like Shedeur Sanders, who would be the other scenario to trade up. Maybe you don't like Shedeur Sanders at 2 because you've bought into this myth of draft value. Then maybe you want to come back up from the second round and try to get good value for Shedeur Sanders by trading your second round pick and one of your later picks for him. Okay, maybe that'll work out for you. But again, we're talking, can he return kicks? No. Can he play football? Absolutely, he can play football. Shedeur Sanders can win you football games. Period. All right, enough draft talk. Let's shift our gears for a second. Feel free, by the way, to leave comments below wherever you're listening to this. Feel free to email me at the show, theleftguard@gmail.com. I will take comments. I'll read your comments on the air. But let's go ask ourselves, let's go check in on what's going on in Baltimore. Wonder what's happening there. As we get our machine out.
I'm actually a Ravens fan. Go to hell.
All right, it's time for our famous Ravens hate segment. So I was thinking about the Ravens because I hate them. They're in my head. Actually, I'm probably living in their head. And I know that they're currently in this weird state right now. They have made it very well known when Deshaun Watson was out there that they have zero tolerance for people with sexual harassment issues. Okay? And they have a kicker right now. And it's draft season. So let's try to help the Ravens out. So let's look at what's going on with Ravens and Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker currently has the second highest guaranteed money on his contract for a kicker at $17.5 million, only to be outdone by I can't think of his name right now, Harrison Butker with the Kansas City Chiefs, who recently got more guaranteed money by $250,000 and recently now has a higher annual value to his contract than Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker has the second highest average base salary of $4 million $6 million per year. Although I think they're actually paying him $4 million this year, but the average is $6 million based on the contract. He's got the second highest guaranteed money, the second highest average annual base salary, and he is the second oldest kicker in the NFL. But he does lead the league for kickers in the most active sexual harassment cases filed against a kicker. So he's second in a salary. He's second in guaranteed money. He's the second oldest kicker, which means his value is diminishing. And he's a headache because he has the second highest, most sexual harassment claims. Now, we know that Baltimore and their beacon of purity and moral righteousness that they are over there are concerned because given the comments they've made about Deshaun Watson and his guaranteed money and his contract and his claims of sexual harassment, that they are just wringing their hands running, what are we going to do with Justin Tucker? Because he has 18 active sexual harassment claims that he's never denied, never addressed, never dealt with, and everybody seems to be leaving him alone. But the Ravens, they are an upright organization. They are the beacon of purity and honesty and truth in the NFL. They would never, ever employ people who murder people. They would never, ever employ somebody who beats up their spouse and knocks them out on camera in an elevator. Oh, wait a minute. Just ask Ray about that. Take your pick on the Ray there. So we know the Ravens are in the market to get themselves a new kicker because they're not going to want this stain on their organization. Not when they've had Ray Lewis and his murdering activities and alleged murdering activities. I don't want sued, Ray. Don't send me the cease and don't get Lamar Jackson out there to send me a cease and desist. I didn't say the number 8. I just said murder charges. You've got other Rays who like to beat up their wives on tape, and that girlfriend's wives in elevators, that's on tape. You can look that up. They don't want this stain on their organization because they are the beacon of purity. So I've got some options for you, Baltimore Ravens. We can help you out. First of all, I have confirmed Cade York is a free agent. Now, Cade York has all of the things that you'd want in a kicker. He's got a strong leg. He can kick the ball really far. He can kick the ball really hard. Your only problem is no, he can't return kicks. He is a kicker. And 2, he doesn't really kick that well, but it's historically known that kickers don't really mature as kickers in the NFL into their late 20s, early 30s. Not sure why that's the case, but if you're looking for a kicker, Cade York might be starting to ripen as a kicker and might start to figure this out. So there's an option for you. You do not have to pay the second highest guaranteed money, the second highest contract for the second oldest kicker with the most sexual harassment claims against the kicker in the NFL. You can draft kickers. There are several kickers in the NFL draft, including Andres Borregales. I don't know how to say this. I don't know Spanish. I'm not going to pretend to. Kicker out of Miami. You've got Ryan Fitzgerald out of Florida State. Can do some kicking for you. Ben Sauls, Caden Davis, Tyler Loop, Kenneth Alamandarez, Dragan Kessick, Graham Nicholson, Maddox Trujillo, and Jonathan Kim. And I'm telling you, I hate kickers. If you follow me, you know I hate kickers. I don't care if I butcher the name. I just don't care. They're kickers. Who cares? Kickers' lives don't matter. Who cares? Don't hurt kickers. Kickers' lives matter as people, but as kickers, their position is superfluous. So you can take one of these kickers in the draft, replace your man, get a fresh start. No more dark cloud hanging over Justin Tucker, who started last year missing a bunch of field goals. I mean, maybe that age is catching up with him. Maybe that leg isn't as strong as it used to be. Maybe it no longer justifies $17.5 million guaranteed. Maybe he's getting up there a little long in the tooth. You do not have to. And here's my message for you, Baltimore. You do not have to have a man with 18 sexual harassment claims against him on your roster. He's old and expensive, which is exactly what you don't want. Just cut him, bring in some new fresh blood. You'll be fine. Get that stain off your roster. Show people around the world that you don't want criminals in your city. And find that guy who beat that Commanders fan up and make sure he goes to jail too. All right, everybody. Appreciate you listening today. The NFL draft is tomorrow. Have some fun with it. Go out there. By the way, go out there and watch the red carpet. It's not as fun as it used to be, but the red carpet used to be absolutely tremendous. People show up in cowboy hats and carrying pictures of the grandma and saying outrageous stuff. I mean, one guy wanted to buy a computer with his bonus. I mean, come on, man. Nothing is as awesome or as tremendous as watching these interviews or watching these outfits. Lamar Jackson dressed up like a leprechaun. It was awesome. I didn't even know he liked Notre Dame, but he came in like full leprechaun, not half leprechaun, full leprechaun. So these outfits are tremendous. Check it out. And as always, keep listening to this podcast so you never, ever, ever have to be in a position where you're like, what the elf was that?
I'm actually a Ravens fan.
Yeah. Go to hell.
Go to hell.
Thank you for listening to the What the Elf Was That podcast. Please like, subscribe, and tell all your friends to give a listen. You can follow host Joel Cade on Twitter @The Left Guard.